Welcome to this new Flight Simulator update movie. In this movie we're gonna look at Townsville. Townsville is one of the cities which has been updated as part of World Update number 7, which takes place in Australia. So we're currently flying pretty high, so we can't see the photogrammetry updates. So the first thing we need to do is decrease the altitude. Most parts which have been changed is, I would say, pretty close to the coast as far as I could see. So let's go ahead and let's descend. So we're gonna decrease the speed of the engine to neutral. So we're gonna also make sure that we're gonna decrease altitude, of course, because if we're flying on this altitude, we won't see the changes, right? So we need to change the bit. So Townsville has received some updates. If you compare it with, for example, Melbourne, which we looked at earlier, it is just a very small list, to be honest. It's not as in Melbourne, for example, I would say a large part of the city center was updated, while in this case in Townsville you don't see many things have changed. There are some changes, but not so many. Also related to point of interests, you won't find so much point of interest here compared to other cities. There are few across to the coastline. There's the harbour, and there's another interesting point, but that lays way out of Townsville itself. So we're currently decreasing altitude with a far too steep rate. I'm aware of that. If you would look from the outside, right, it would be crazy. But hey, if you want to look at the scenery, right, from this height we can't see it. You can see that Townsville is laying in between mountains, right? A lot of mountains are surrounding the city. Those mountains, if you fly close to them, those look really nice. So you can see that definitely some work has been done there. If you wonder, hey, what's he flying weird? Yeah. For those who didn't watch the other 4K movies, that's because I'm playing on the Xbox. Using the Xbox controller, for those who have an Xbox and are trying to fly using an Xbox controller, you know it is kind of challenging. I'd say it isn't impossible, but I'd say a joystick or keyboard would be easier, right? If you're used to a PC, if you're flying a lot on the PC, then you know what I'm talking about. So we're almost crossing the 10,000 feet range. And you can see that there's a nice river, right? So that could be one of the things you could try. You can simply follow the river and then follow from the, I'd say, go from the coastline and then fly back. Then you will end up in a lake which is behind us. So we're currently at 9,000 feet. It's not too dense currently, right? It's I think it's still in the morning, maybe in the beginning of the afternoon that we're flying. So it's not too busy. Close to Townsville, there's an airport, right? Townsville Airport, Townsville International. You can see that over there. I think there's 1 or 2 runways, if I'm correct. And we're coming close to the, let's say, Townsville South, and I think that's the part where they added most things, because I already did a pre-flight for this video, and what I saw is that the most changes were there. The rest of it also looks cool, but it simply is not the photogrammetry updates of the buildings. Now to the left you also see Townsville Harbour, right? So that's the point of interest which they added. Right in front of us there's a, let's say, the land, say, the part of land really deep in the sea. There's also a point of interest there. I'm not sure which one that is. Currently we're flying at 6,000, and we're still decreasing altitude. You can see a lot of rivers, a lot of nature here, a lot of trees. So if you're a nature fan, this would be definitely one of the cities which you want to visit. So while we're still decreasing altitude, this is the part where we are arriving now that received the most updates, including, say, a stadium, which is, I would say, in progress of building. That's one where you see the left wing, like here. You can see it. We're coming closer to it. So we're really stressing the aircraft, right? You can see that although we are, say, throttle is set to 0, it still has 2400 RPM, and also the speed is crazy high. It's in the yellow zone, so we need to be careful about that. Unfortunately, there's no way to start a flight, I'd say, at a certain altitude, right? It always puts you on an altitude and you can't change it. That would be a nice addition if you can say, hey, I want to start from this point at this altitude, but that's currently not possible. So let's have a look at the scenery. So this is the city itself, or the harbor, sorry. And you can see that the harbor received a lot of updates, including cranes, which you can see, and some piers deep into the sea. This one also looks really cool, that white one. Increase the throttling a bit. And besides that, there are several, say, yacht harbors, right? Some smaller harbors. One of them you can see on the left side, flying over it. The other one is more into the city, right? So that's why I said, okay, if you follow the river, you will find some nice spots. And that's also what we're gonna do, because based on this, you can see that we're also seeing the photogrammetry updates which the city received. These are a few of them, right? These are some nice buildings, and if you would look a little bit more to the left, I'm gonna change the course a bit, then you will see that we're flying to the stadium, which also received an update. So here are the buildings which received an update. And then that's your altitude. Then here to the left there's a stadium which they're building. So it still is in progress, right? But really nicely detailed. Maybe it's already finished because some of the photogrammetry is outdated, right? So some other buildings. So it looks like that in this city there's a lot of, I would say, build structuring taking place. Increase the speed a bit, else we will end up in the trees. So other than that, right, you can see that the rest of the city looks nice, but it didn't receive, I would say, a lot of updates, right? There are not a lot of towers here, as you can see. On the right side, it's over there, right, you can see a nice mountain, and if we would fly close to it, we would see that it's really detailed. Piece here, right? You can see that it still builds up, but you can see that it's really detailed. You can see it's kind of, I would say, I'm not sure what they're doing here. Maybe gathering some stone or something. Nice road also to the mountains, and you can see that the flight simulator has, is stuttering a bit, right? So it doesn't like it. Covers a lot, to be honest. So let's go inside again. Inside the cockpit mostly works fine, because then it doesn't have to render too much scenery. I hope that they will fix that other issue soonish. So this is the other part of the city, right, which will eventually bring us to the airport, which is over there. We can't fly over it. So you can see that the part which has been mostly updated is the southern part of Townsville, but the part which has been updated looks really nice. So now I'm really wondering, okay, hey, is it really realistic, right? For example, is the stadium still being built, or is it already finished? So if you're living in Townsville and if you know it, and if you want to share your experience, then please do so by leaving a comment in the comment box below this video. Here ends this video. In this video we looked at Townsville, and we specifically looked at the part of Townsville which received an update in World Update number 7 for Flight Simulator 2020. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.